Here's a look at a recap of your markets on this Thursday, the 25th day of September. We've seen the gates open and they started to swing today in feedlot country. Saw some decent volume in the north as well as some in the south. We'll take a look at that here shortly, as along with some of the rest of your ag markets. But before we'll get into that, we'll talk about today's news. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins was in Kansas City today at the Ag Outlook Forum. Two of the highlights that came from that was she did confirm that the $2 billion remaining of ECAP money will be released within the next week or so. And then she squashed some of the rumors that had been floating around this week about potential money going out for some type of heifer retention program, as she flat out said that at this point, USDA has no plans to offer payments to beef producers. Taking a look at some of that feedlot trade today, 28,639 head of confirmed negotiated sales. Texas reported 1,143 head, all at $237. That'd be $3 lower than last week. Kansas, 2,033 head. Live sales from $234 to mostly $237, which would be $3 lower. A few dress sales at $365. In Iowa, 7,657 head reported. Live sales from $231 to $233. That'd be about $4 to $5 lower than last week. A few dress sales at $365. In Nebraska, 14,812 head. Live sales there were reported from $231 to $235, with most of them leaning towards the lower end of that range. Dress sales from $362 to mostly $365. Box beef cutout values, choice down $5.42 today, $371.97. Select down $2.97 at $353.45. That makes the choice select spread $18.52. Volume today, 158 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. Taking a look at the auction markets around the state today. Of course, there was no sale in New Cambria livestock market. It was an off-scheduled week for them. Light sales at both Mocan and Mid-Mo today. They're both actually done for the day. Mid-Missouri Stockyards in Phillipsburg had 604 head. A light run, but the steers sold $10 to $20 higher. Heifers $5 to $15 higher. The steers, medium and large ones, some 4 to 5 weights at $417.5 to $462.50. Some 5 to 6 weights at $407.5 to $448. 6 to 7 weights at $384 to $413. 7 to 8 weights at $350 to $380. Feeder heifers, 4 to 500 pounds, $383 to $414. 5 to 6 weights at $350 to $395. 6 to 7 weights at $350 to $357.50. A few 7 to 750 pound heifers at $341 to $344. Taking a look at the livestock futures today. Cattle gave back about everything that they'd gained this week. Live cattle actually currently lower than for the week. October down $2 today, $232.05. December $234.30 down $252, and February $236.05 down $292. Feeder cattle contracts nearby, they're lower for the week now, but when you get out to November and early next year, still just slightly higher. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow to see where we end up for the week. September feeder cattle, of course, that contract, it's not moving a whole lot right now, as it's got to settle up with the cash index next Monday. It was up a nickel today at $365.42, and that's less than $1 now to the current index. October feeder cattle down $5.57, $354.05. November down $5.57 at $352.22. That CME cash feeder cattle index currently at $364.10. Lean hogs, October was up 67 cents today at $100 and a dime. December 88.62 up 50, and February 89.92 up 30. Taking a look at the grain markets now at the elevators around the state on Thursday. Corn was mixed from 3 lower to 2 higher. Soybeans 3 higher. Wheat 7 higher. Corn bids in St. Louis $4.24. Kansas City at $4 even. Soybean bids in St. Louis, $9.85. Kansas City, $9.27. Wheat bids in St. Louis, $4.67 to $4.77. On the Board of Trade, corn for December up a penny and a half, $4.25 3/4. March up a penny and a quarter, $4.42 1/4. May up a penny at $4.51 1/4. November beans 3 1/4 higher, $10.12 1/4. January up 2 3/4 at $10.31 1/4. March at $10.47 1/2, up 2 3/4. Wheat contracts, December 5.27, that was up 7 1/2. March at 5.45, up 7. May 5.56 3/4, up 6 3/4. Soybean meal for October down $3.10 a ton at $268.60. Soybean oil for October $49.74 a hundredweight, up 45 cents. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for Thursday. This is Tony Hancock.